Hey everybody, welcome back to an episode of the 3 Count. I'm War Machine today, the face of the 3 Count Mafia. And if you're wondering where my title is, AEW's Revolution just happened this past weekend, and I haven't done the scorecard yet, so I don't know how it shakes out, and I'm not going to flaunt my past victories in the case that I didn't win and just made an ass out of myself. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and talk about NXT and NXT UK. Now, despite how I feel about NXT Portland, I don't think it was a good idea. Because since Portland happened, past 2 weeks ago, NXT's just kind of fell into this creative rut where this week's NXT and last week's NXT were not that inspired. I think NXT creative it just hit the wall because they had Worlds Collide just like a month beforehand. So we'll see how the weeks leading up to TakeOver Tampa goes. So anyway, we kicked off the show with Cameron Grimes taking on Dominik Dijakovic. Yeah, this match came about because these two were jaw-jacking on Twitter, which is a lazy explanation for a match. And yeah, this was a pretty Dijakovic heavy match. I mean, Cameron Grimes got his offense in. He had his fair share of momentum until Dominik Dijakovic got. He got tagged in the knee by one Damian Priest, who had the referee's vision. Tagged him in the back of the right knee with a nightstick, and then just disappeared into the crowd. Dijakovic would try to get into the ring, but he would eat a cave-in from Cameron Grimes, who would pick up the 3 on Dominik Dijakovic. Next, we had the Prince Balor, Finn Balor, basically listing off his accomplishments and, wondering what's next for the Prince. Until he was interrupted by Fabian Eichner and Marcel Barthel of Imperium. Basically saying, they sent a message from Walter saying Finn Balor has not captured the NXT UK Championship, and Walter sends his regards. Of course, Balor tried to get the initiative on Eichner and Barthel, but the numbers game were too much, and Imperium stood tall while the Prince lay defeated. Next, we had Xia Li taking on Mia Yim. However, towards the finish of this match, Dakota Kai came out and distracted Mia Yim for Xia Li to get the 3. Afterwards, Dakota Kai's henchwoman, Raquel Gonzalez, beat the pair down. So yeah, Dakota Kai's just making some noise before her showdown with Tegan Nox next week inside of a steel cage. Next, we had Tommaso Ciampa taking on Austin Theory. This was a fairly competitive match. Austin Theory got his stuff in, but he succumbed to the Widow's End, and Tommaso Ciampa got the victory. Afterwards, he was beaten down by Johnny Gargano, who just left Ciampa laying and just mockingly did Tommaso Ciampa's his clapping and patting, basically hinting at the fact that they might have their loser leaves NXT match at TakeOver Tampa. Next, we had Killian Dane taking on Bronson Reed. This was a fairly fairly decent match between two big bastards. However, Killian Dane got the victory with with a trio of sentons and a Vader bomb. So yeah. Next we had GYV defeating the Forgotten Sons. No surprise, GYV was going to go over because they are the more relevant tag team of the pair. And finally, that led us to our main event: Charlotte Flair taking on Bianca Belair in a rushed finish. So Charlotte gets the victory, forces Bianca to tap out with a spear and not natural selection combo. Afterwards, as soon as the bell rings, Charlotte jumps out the ring, grabs a chair, jump back into the ring, and setting up to break Bianca Belair's ankle with the chair. Rhea Ripley comes out and takes her sweet time on the stage doing her entrance, and then she suddenly rushed into the ring. So yeah, they ran out of TV time with this whole thing. So yeah, that was NXT last week. So we moved to NXT UK, which had a fairly meaty main event. We kicked off the show with more grizzled young vets as they took on Wild Boar and Primate the Hunt. And no surprise, GYV got the victory. Next we had Cassius Ohno taking on Jack Stars, and Jack Stars actually showed a little bit more offense in this match, and he got the better of the Wrestling Genius a handful of times. However, in the end, the Wrestling Genius got the victory over Jack Stars. Next, we had A-Kid taking on Brian Kendrick in a pretty decent match. However, in the end, A-Kid got the victory over Brian Kendrick. Yeah, not much happened as far as the rest of the episode. But the main event was Kaylee Ray defending her NXT UK Women's Championship against Toni Storm in an I Quit match. And this match got pretty damn brutal. Towards the finish, however, Kaylee Ray was pretty much trying to end Toni Storm's career. She had the chair wrapped around her neck, and Kaylee Ray was climbing to the top rope, ready to put an end to it. Of course, Toni Storm, a couple of minutes earlier, got the chair rammed into her throat, so she was in pure agony. Down the stretch, British Tom Hanks, Sid Scala, and Johnny Saint and Piper Niven came out pleading Toni Storm to just say the two words, "I quit," so she could save her career. Eventually, Toni Storm would say, "I quit," and that means not only does Kaylee Ray retain her title, but Toni Storm can never challenge for the UK title as long as Kaylee Ray holds it. Pretty brutal stuff. Anyway, yeah, sorry if this is a short episode. It's just NXT UK has always kind of lacked on the creative side. Their main events have always been stellar, but their show's been kind of, you're not missing too much. And NXT, as I stated before, main brand NXT's kind of been in a creative rut as of TakeOver Portland. So, yeah, with that being said, if you miss Rod's face, but love to hear... I'm sorry. You know what? I'm going to show a little bit of appreciation towards this guy. He provides us with notes and all that. If you miss his face, but you'd love to hear his opinions, he has a podcast. Go check it out. Prime Talk with Rodimus Prime on the Castbox app. Go check it out. Yeah, he talks about a lot of sporty stuff. And of course, he also talks about pro wrestling. So go check him out. He's got a lot to say and a lot of time to do it. So that being said, I'm War Machine MJ, and I will see you guys next time.